This is James Jopling again with Shoppa's John Deere, and we're going to go over the electrical boards for our 2021 AgTech contest for the components. Now, first of all, what we have here, and I have it actually in a little drawn, hand-drawn schematic. This is all in series. The entire circuit, power providence coming through, fuse switch coming down over into this lamp, coming out of that lamp, over, going through this lamp, out of that lamp, coming over through that lamp, and then to ground. So that's a complete series circuit. Okay, and we do notice that that lamp is not illuminated, but we'll get to that in a moment. First question on this, it's going to be false, is having power providence from board A switch on, all lamps should be illuminated being in a parallel circuit. There again, we're not in a parallel circuit, we're in a total series circuit. So, and there again, you notice that that lamp is not illuminated. So, but that question is false. The next question is false also. The bulb on board B is not illuminated due to a faulty element. See, this is board B, that's not illuminated. If that element were defective, then none of these lamps would be illuminated due to this being in series circuit. So you can rest assured that that filament is intact. Next question, the total of voltage drop noted on all three devices should be somewhat near to the voltage providence. So you're going to add this, this, and that, and you're going to note, well, it should be almost exactly what the voltage providence is, with all three of them added together. Now the next question is true also. The pass-through amperage on bulb C1 is restricting available amperage voltage to illuminate this on B. Yes, see, this filament, it's kind of like a water hose. If you think about, okay, this little water hose and this bulb, that hose is this big. So whatever can flow through this little hose is trying to fill this hose over here, so it cannot. And that's why the element in board B is not illuminated, due to the pass-through current availability. It doesn't have enough current to illuminate that. And possibly if we didn't have any lights on, you may see a faint, faint glow out of that one. Okay, the last question. The bulbs C1, B, and C are in a series circuit. That's true. We had discussed that earlier. Coming from power providence through our switch, around, through that lamp, here, through that lamp, coming over, passing through that lamp, and then to ground. So that is true. And that is all the questions on this electrical board. Yes, now this is our second electrical board on the components. So now we've got a little bit more of a complex mess here, circuitry. So what we're doing is we're actually coming with our power providence, going through our relay, coming up, over, and across to terminal 30 in our relay, which with switch in off position is going to be making connection with 87, which from 87 it's going to go over here to this lamp, and then down to this, through this, and then over here to this. And you notice that we're just going directly through the fuse back to the ground. That's why that's illuminated right there. And also from terminal 87, we're coming over and we're going down to board M, which has two LEDs on it. From there, going through this board with that 220 ohm resistor and coming through these. And the reason for that LED not being illuminated is the anode and cathode, which is a positive and negative on that diode, are opposite of this one. Then it's coming over here to this, then back up to this, which we're going to be there again, going straight through and going to ground. And then if we were to turn the switch to the on position, right here, we're going to be making connection to 87 in that relay. And remember earlier, we had reviewed how the relay functions. But anyway, that's going to make connection from 30 to 87, coming over through that LED and coming back through the switch and coming back up here into ground. That's why that LED is being illuminated, just through that one LED. Right now what we have, the first question concerning this board, with the switch on board A in off position, the lamp on board C1, which is right here, and one LED on board M, right there, are illuminated. However, the lamp on board C will not be illuminated due to the lack of pass-through current. There again, just like the board before, why we had that large bulb not being illuminated. We have power coming through here, through that LED, and there's only so much current that can pass through that LED coming over. It's not adequate current to be able to illuminate this lamp. If this lamp were faulty, it would be the same as unplugging that, and your LED would not illuminate. So therefore, you can feel assured that the filament within that bulb is intact. Okay, now the next question is false. With the switch on board A turned off, the power providence to the boards M, C, and C1 are all in a series circuit. That's false. It's actually, with it turned off, it's coming over through here, there, and then back to ground. Okay. Then it's coming over here, which being coming over here, through there, and then there. These are in series. However, you've also got a parallel circuit right here. So it's a series and parallel. Both circuits are involved in that one. Next question is true. The switch on board A controls ground circuits to the relay on board J and LED on board O. Okay, yes. Okay, we're actually using the switch to complete a ground, and that's how it activates that coil. And then we're coming from 87 over to board O, and then that's the ground circuit also for that LED. So that's true. Now the next question is false. If the fuse on board A were to fail, only relay on board J wouldn't function. That is incorrect. So if this would fail, if that fuse were to fail, it would be the same as unplugging it. So you notice that the LED wouldn't work also, and that's why that is false. Not only would the relay not function, but the LED would not function. And also, even with it turned off, if that fuse were to fail, nothing would function. Now, the next question, the last question on this particular board is false. We switch on board A off, only one LED on board M is illuminated due to a faulty filament on the second LED. As we discussed earlier, the anode and cathode, which is essentially positive and negative in that diode, is reversed. Therefore, you can only have current passage in they only allow current passage in one direction. So if we were to do this, reversing polarity, then you note that that other LED is illuminated. So that's false. And that's all the questions concerned for this particular board. Okay, this is our final electrical board for our 2021 components. So first of all, let's go through it and review it real quick. Power's coming into this, over through here, to that, and then also to that. So this is going to be a parallel circuit. And then it's coming from that over to ground, through that bulb, and from here. So this is a true parallel circuit. All right, and we have a little schematic here that's going to be by the boards, so you can review that. So question number one, the bulb C1 is not illuminated to probably a faulty element. So that's not really correct, because we've got our meter on this side and then the other lead going to ground. We're displaying voltage. So what would cause that potentially? If we had an open circuit, if we had a faulty connection, bad wire. Now if we were reading nothing here, which would be if we had a faulty element, that's what we would be displaying. So we have a faulty wire, faulty connection, something as such between here, and that's why we're indicating that voltage from there to there. You're essentially just testing this portion of the circuit out. Okay, the next question is false also. If the power supply voltage is low, it will only illuminate the closest bulb. That's incorrect. If we had low voltage and they were in series, it could potentially only illuminate one bulb. Or if the first bulb was a lot smaller than the second bulb, the filament being smaller. But that question is false. Okay, the next one is true. The bulbs C and C1 are in a parallel circuit, as we discussed before, coming through the switch to this one, then to this one, and then ground to ground. So that is a true parallel circuit. Now the next question, observing voltage on DMM from the ground side of C1 and the power supply ground indicates faulty ground wire from the board to power ground. Yes, as we discussed a while ago, we have this, which should be completing circuit to ground, and we're indicating voltage. Therefore, there's a fault within this ground wire for C1. Okay, the final question on this is true. Okay, we have voltage indication here again from the ground leg of this lamp to the ground over here. So if the filament on board C1, which is a C1, if this filament were faulty, and that would be the cause for lack of illumination, voltage indication on the multimeter right here should be 0. That's true. That would be the same thing as doing that. So that should be 0. And that's true. And that completes our questions. So that's our final component. Thank you.